welcome to tonight's program Face Off. I'm Olu Phillips. The 2015 general elections in Nigeria will remain in history books as a historic event which changed the equation of political calculations in the country. That election still scoring high as one of the freest and fairest in recent times. It did, however, produce in some cases talking points and in other scenarios unveiling an entire gamut of surprises. Some state election results have been contested and taken through a system called tribunals just to perhaps look at the event during the election for the states which contested results. That process is already producing reports and verdicts that appear to be following a trend which has raised discussions in some quarters. Simply put, most states where assumably the PDP holds sway are getting not too favorable verdicts according to some people, while same is not the story for states headed by the Old Progressives Congress. For tonight's discussion, Rivers State is on the platter. Being the latest of such verdicts, the Supreme Court has ruled and the governor has lost again. We have two guests in the studio. When we return from this short break, I'll be introducing them to you and we'll be having a swell time as we come back from break. First off tonight, we're looking at Rivers State post-election 2015, what the judges have had to say. And right now, we do know also that in that state, the governorship candidate or the governor there has his seat or his election overturned. We'll be discussing Rivers politics tonight, and I have two people in the studio. To my right is Achinike Nwobodo. He's a legal practitioner. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
And to my left, I have another legal practitioner, and he's simply called Jimmy Abia.
It's my pleasure.
Hi, Jimmy Abia. Abia State, Abia, just Abia.
Abia.
Interesting, interesting. Well, this is the way, you brought all this to intimidate us, right?
No, not to intimidate you, to show proof.
Proof?
Yeah, proof.
This is not a court of law.
I'm wondering. But let's see, we should have an interesting discussion tonight. Now, I want you in the next 30 seconds to tell us or give us your reaction after that judgment was pronounced by the Supreme Court. We'll dovetail later into the tribunal judgment and all of that. In 30 seconds, your impression.
Yeah, well, what the Supreme Court judgment was obviously the best the Supreme Court could have said. And then the reaction from PDP is like when the student fails exam and then he's being reprimanded by his father, he says, oh, the teacher does not like me. That's exactly what is happening.
Do you think that's, would you agree with him or think otherwise?
Well, not exactly. I don't exactly agree with him. I would say these are curious decisions. And going by those decisions, I think we're in strange times. And I hope these strange times do not lead us to perilous times.
Welcome back, viewers. Rivers Politics. What do you make of this entire scenario?
Yes, what it shows, what you could see from there is that the two parties are sticking to their guns. Everybody is sticking to his guns. We believe that the elections, one party believes that the election was not free and fair. The other party believes that they won the election and that if whatever happens, whether on appeal or if another election is conducted, that they will definitely, either way get victory. So everybody is sticking to his guns.
Looking at that verdict by the Supreme Court.
Yes.
What are the things you have against it?
Well, if you look at that decision by the Supreme Court, you begin to wonder what is the position? What do you make of the provision, extant provision, clear provisions of the Constitution, Section 285, subsection 2. Of the Constitution makes it clear that election tribunals shall be set up in every state, in every state where election was conducted. And then you're now wondering, an election tribunal was moved that was meant to be in Rivers State was moved to Abuja for no cogent reason, for no cogent and verifiable reason. And then the Supreme Court gave. Of course, being a lawyer from my own area, you have to be careful, because this is a judgment of the most, the highest court in the land. But it is important that when you looking at the extant provisions of the Constitution and also the previous decisions, you know, that in this, like in the case of Ibori and Oboru, you look at such decisions, and then you begin to wonder the basis on which the Supreme Court arrived on this.
Who is also your colleague on this issue.
No. The point is, what does the Constitution provide regarding election tribunal? It says that there shall be election tribunal set up for each state, the 36 states of the Federation. The Constitution did not specify that the election tribunal for Rivers State should hold in Rivers State.
No, so what's the meaning of that provision?
Now, exactly that's what the Supreme Court has interpreted. The Supreme Court has said, look, what the Constitution provides for and contemplates is that there shall be election tribunal for each of the 36 states. But the Constitution is not clear or did not say where that tribunal should sit. In other words, the 36 states of the Federation, all the tribunals could sit in Lagos, could sit in Abuja, depending on convenience. And now the next question to take is, what informed that decision to move it to Port Harcourt, to Abuja? Before the election, Rivers State was flagged as highly volatile state. Akwa Ibom was flagged as highly volatile. Now, are you expecting that in these times when you have Boko Haram sitting, you should go and put it where Boko Haram is sitting? Is that what the Constitution contemplates?
You see, that's the problem. Now, he has mentioned Boko Haram. Now, there were states where we had this issue of Boko Haram. And some of those states, we still had the election petitions tribunal sitting in those places. You also had, even if, for instance, if you had an Adamawa sitting in Abuja, it is understandable because of the Boko Haram issue. We've also had the Boko Haram. We've also had bombing. We've also had bombings even in Abuja. And we have not had Boko Haram bombings in Rivers State.
Were you aware?
And yet,
no, you can't say that.
The election
you can't say that. Were you aware of how many courts
you mentioned Boko Haram.
I'm taking you on. Were you aware of how many courts that
I am taking you on the Boko Haram that you mentioned. You mentioned the issue of Boko Haram. And we know the areas where Boko Haram have bombed and claimed responsibility.
Okay.
Now, in Abuja, Boko Haram, there have been several bomb blasts by the Boko Haram. And yet, a tribunal was moved from Rivers State to Abuja. And you tell me that is proper?
Courts were bombed, before the election.
And who were those bombing the courts?
We don't know.
You don't know. And then may I remind you, that there was the Court of Appeal in Port Harcourt.
Yes.
There was the customary Court of Appeal also in Port Harcourt. Yes. And all these courts were sitting. Yes. Even at the time there was the judiciary strike. Now, as soon as Dusun called off their strike to begin sitting at the High Court in Rivers State, the bomb blast